Good morning, everyone. Today I want to talk about people pleasing and why we often lose ourselves in relationship. I've often heard from people after they go from breakups, they say, I lost myself. I gave everything I was to this person. I missed out on opportunities because of this other person, and I don't know who I am anymore. And what I have to say to that is the other person didn't cause you to do anything. That may be hard to realize. But I think ingrained in many of us is we feel like that love means pleasing the other person. And so we will often give up who we are, thinking that we can gain love by giving everything to this other person. And I think what we really have to realize is that true love is being authentically you. And it's not giving up your interest because a new person enters your life. It's making time for you, the cause of your soul. And yes, you have a new person, you will make time for them. But I think a lot of this programming comes from childhood. We often have had parents that say it doesn't matter what your intuition tells you, doesn't matter what you feel is right, doesn't matter what you feel at all. This is the way it's going to be, and you're going to follow these directions. And then we grow up thinking that's love, and it's not love at all. Many times in childhood, we're not asked how we feel about anything. We're just given orders, and we are ingrained with that is love, and we don't want to cause conflict. So instead of speaking for our needs or what we want or who we are, we just go with the flow, and then all of a sudden we've lost who we are. And so, I invite you to kind of let go of any blame you might have towards another person you've been in a relationship for, thinking that you gave up things for them, because at any time you can stand up and meet your own needs. It might mean losing that person, and you have to be willing to realize that sometimes not every person is right for you, but the person who's right for you is going to encourage you to be you and to follow the desires of your heart, even if it means they're not always included. Part of sovereignty is saying, this is who I am, and this is what I'm going to do, and it is your choice what you want to do from there. One of the biggest things that I think is a very limiting belief that is on its way out of our world, thank goodness, is compromise. We are grown up to say, we're grown up with this belief, you must compromise. Well, it's funny because we say we don't want to compromise who we are, and yet we think a healthy relationship includes compromise. One of my favorite teachers is Osho, and I'm just going to read you a little bit about what he says about compromise. Remember never to compromise. Compromise is absolutely against my whole vision. You see the people, they are miserable because they have compromised on every point, and they cannot forgive themselves because they have compromised. They know that they could have dared, but they proved cowards. In their own eyes, they have fallen, they have lost self-respect. That's what compromise does. Why should one compromise? What have we got to lose? In this small life, live as totally as possible. Don't be afraid of going to the extreme. You cannot go more than total. That is the last line, and don't compromise. Your whole mind will go for compromise because that's how we have been brought up and conditioned. Compromise is one of the most ugly words in our language. It means I give half, you give half. I settle for half, you settle for half. But why? When you can have the whole, when you can eat the cake and have it too, then why compromise? Just a little courage, just a little daring, and only in the beginning. Once you've experienced the beauty of non-compromising and the dignity that it brings, and the joy and the integrity and the individuality, for the first time, you feel that you have roots, that you have a center, that you live out of your own. You don't live like a businessman. Living life like a businessman is prostitution. Live like a warrior. This way or that, but never compromising. It is better to be defeated than to be victorious through a compromise. That victory will not give you anything except humiliation, and the defeat without compromise will still give you dignity. Life is mysterious. Here, sometimes victory is just shameful, and defeat is a dignity because one would not compromise. So whatever sensuality you feel, whatever love you feel, just don't keep that in your mind. Otherwise, they get sour, they get bitter. Express them. And remember one thing, that expression is always a tremendous release of your own energy. Otherwise, your energy goes on accumulating and becomes a burden. And when it becomes a burden, you start throwing the responsibility on other people. Because you are sad, you are heavy. Somebody must be doing something wrong. If you are sad, you are wrong. If you are joyful, you are right. So I'll leave those thoughts with you, and think about in your own life what happens when you live from your center, your core, when you know who you are and you're living according to those rules that you have set for yourself. How much better you feel than when you're trying to appease someone else, to people please, to live the way someone else wants you to live. So I invite you first, you have to know who you are and what you want. It is so easy to go along with what everyone else wants and lose yourself and then blame it on that person that you've lost yourself when really you didn't know yourself at all. So first, I think the knowing is knowing yourself and what is the path that you want to take, and then taking it. And if somebody wants to join you on that path, how wonderful that is. And if they don't, you will meet others on the path, I promise you. I love you all. Thank you.